All right, we are live here at SSG for their 15-case charity event. We have none other than Mr. Dick Burns, who I hear is very bad for the brand, but we're going to let him on video anyway. And congratulations, Dick, a great friend of everybody's here. And good to see you put up a top 16 finish today with blue steel items. And we're going to get into the deck list. First of all, how'd you feel about the event in general?
The event was great once I started winning.
Oh, okay.
Because, SSG, hot commodity, right?
Okay.
This is the place to play. So they were squeezing some people in, right?
I saw some people trapped and they weren't able to get out of their pairing.
I sat in my seat for an hour. Round one.
I heard your opponent didn't show up and you just sat there and waited.
They say this is where the big boys play. All right, look at the adjective, big boys. All right,
I love it. Well, I'm glad you made it out of that seat and you did make it all the way to the top 16 seat. What was your final match, if you don't mind me asking?
I lost to in the Swiss, which was Ruby Sapphire.
Ruby Sapphire, the big bad wolf.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that match. How did you feel?
Oh, so what's great is they have coil in it, Sapphire coil.
Yeah.
Right? And as soon as they play that, I can go get dominoes next door.
Oh, that's a really good strat.
Because that card is actually unreal. Anyone who has ever argued with me in the comment section of my videos, you're dead wrong. It's the most oppressive thing I have ever played against in any card game.
Yeah, it is. I can attest to that sentiment, and I'm in quite an agreement with you here. But let's get into the deck. You still did really well today, and you should be very proud of that. So I know it's never fun to lose to coil or red blue in general, but you did great today. You should be very proud. And let's get into the list and talk about it.
All right. So obviously, the only reason we're playing Sapphire Steel is because we have these.
Sure.
And sometimes today they weren't there in my opening hand, no matter how many I had. So that's that. I elected for 7 2-drop ramp spells.
Okay. Talk to me about 3 Tipo.
Well, so I hate Tipo.
Okay.
He's a shirtless boy. I shouldn't be touching shirtless boys. I'd much rather just sail. Okay.
Okay.
I don't have like the most draw power in this deck, so I really am just going negative a card most of the time.
Okay.
And I have 8 1-cost items.
Right.
So this puts the ink into play ready.
Right.
So I could just play another item.
Sure.
So that's that. They've also were nowhere to be found at some points. I played 2 Baboom.
Okay, that's something. I see some blue steels are adopting Babooms again. Talk to me about that decision.
Well, I took this right from Moyen. This is like mostly just his deck list because
Shout out to Moyen.
Yeah, I was losing with other stuff, and I was like, what's Moyen playing? He's smarter than me. I almost played 61 cards just in case he randomly saw this, but I'm not unreasonable. It's 60.
It's 60. Okay.
But this infuriated people today.
Really?
This absolutely infuriated people today. I killed Diablos with this card. I killed Smees with this card. Like, when it seemed like Smee was going to quest for 2 again.
Gone.
Get it out of it. I played 3P.
3P?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm not going to
4P.
lie. I wouldn't mind playing 0.
Interesting. Talk to me.
I mean, I would like set up Tamatoa Pete. My opponent would just go Ink Sisu. And guess what happened to Pete? Went with the rest of them. I played 3 Fishbone Quill and 1 Greatstone Dragon.
All right.
Yeah, so the key is these are better early and these are better late. So draw this one later in the game.
Okay.
That's a pro tip.
That could be arranged.
You can subscribe to my Metafy for more tips like that. Obviously, I played the second most broken card.
Okay, you didn't play 3 of this card. Why was that?
Yeah, here's the thing. When I played against Ruby Sapphire, it never lasted more than 1 turn anyway, so I also might have had a copy under here. Just kidding.
Okay.
I might have had a copy on the floor. We played 3 Cogsworths for the mirror.
Okay.
Yeah, I played the mirror 0 times.
I was gonna ask, how did that perform? But I guess that will.
You know what it was decent against? Amethyst Steel.
Okay.
It was just oddly decent against Amethyst Steel.
Anything steel, I would imagine, is probably decent.
I had 2 of them.
Yeah.
So he could just banish nothing of mine.
Sure.
Which was fun.
Sure.
Otherwise, you have to ink it against Sisu decks. It's too slow against like anything else.
Sure.
Yeah, I would still play it again just because there was so much Sapphire Steel. I just happened to not play against it. We played 4 of this
I
Tamatoa.
heard this card's pretty good.
Obviously, it has the word free on it.
Oh.
So anything that has the word free on it, yeah, that goes in its own nice little pile.
Oh, that one. Yeah, we're not gonna throw those over there.
As JDZ Quest says, I played one Hades. I don't know why there's only one Hades in here. I didn't build the deck. There's only like 9 uninkables. I probably could play more.
How did Hades perform?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It also infuriated people.
Oh, okay.
What else cost 7 where I'm looking at my opponent's board? Every time I exerted 7 and looked at their board, they just picked up their best card and yeeted it off screen. 2 lucky dimes.
Okay.
For the Tamatoas, obviously.
Sure. Talk to me about 2 versus like I know people playing 1 or 3.
Yeah.
How did you feel on 2?
Well, I would like to find it sometimes.
Okay.
Not only that, I would like to be able to TPO it away sometimes.
Understood.
And not feel like, well, I just lost the game.
Right.
Funny enough, even with such low uninkables, I was stuck on 3 or 4 ink, maybe 4 games today. But the deck draws so well and has so many free cards that it doesn't matter.
Sure.
And the fact that your opponent knows you have Lucky Dime makes it so that they need to banish this Tamatoa, and then they might not necessarily have something to banish the more important Tamatoa.
Understood.
Because this one already got so much value from returning your popsicles.
Sure.
And then we've got the big boy.
Ooh, Big Daddy.
Yep, Wochuck here.
Oh,
Look at that butt.
That's the
Big
Wochuck.
booty, big booty boy. I have to play max crabs. My name is Dick, so obviously I have crabs in my deck. It's a necessity.
It's part of the theme.
So I put everything in cost order
Sure.
for the deck. So these are the zeros. And this is why this deck functions.
Talk to me.
I'm just going to lay out all the cards that are free. So these cards are free, okay? They're just free to play always. And it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fair. I often don't play this bell. I would need to like get an item in my discard to return with Tamatoa if I'm going to play the spell most times. But it's kind of a necessary evil that you have to include in your deck in case someone like Alex decides to bring hyper aggro like some kind of monster. Yeah. So Bell is actually probably the least egregious, aside from it changes how people build their decks.
Which is surprising because I think a lot of people thought Belle was going to be like the biggest monster of the format, and she is very good, but
she is infuriating if you want to build a deck with like Piglet in it.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I did, however, play a Bell blind one time because it wasn't really blind. I knew what my opponent was playing, and I mulliganed to have 2 storms, a Bell, and an item. So that wasn't fun for him. But that's what you get for sitting next to me in a different round. The strengths I actually hated.
Really?
I absolutely have hated these strengths all day. It's kind of just like something that could get taken by Ursula. I feel like you have to play it in case someone plays Diablo, but I also have Boom. There's no Oswalds in here. I feel like the character count isn't as high as previous versions. There's no queens, stuff like that.
Right.
So I had a really hard time ever getting a lot of value off of this.
Sure.
I was typically just 2-for-1ing myself to deal with a Hiram.
Right.
Which is also the big problem with this deck compared to Ruby Sapphire. We both have Hirams. They have 12, 16, I don't know, 30 cards that banish our Hirams.
Right.
And we have to 2-for-1 ourselves to banish theirs. But yeah, I was losing a lot.
Scrooge was good today?
Scrooge was unbelievable, yeah. I played 2 in one turn.
That sounds like a
I
fair
only
thing.
had 3 items in play. Played an item, found an item, ripped off popsicles and the spheres. Played another one. One of my opponents today specifically said to me, "Can you just stop making game actions?" So
Yeah, I got you.
that was fun. And then I was also infuriating people with Long Game Zeus. I seem to always have a Long Game Zeus.
It's very powerful.
People thought they were clear. I think Moyen only played 2. I just have a really hard time not wanting to pair these 2 cards together.
Understood.
Yeah, if you open with the turn 3 Scrooge, and then you can just long game Zeus anything in the game. You're a bad Steel Songs deck, but Steel Songs is really good, so that's fine. Like great value Oreos are still pretty good.
They're still delicious, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
So yeah, that's the deck. Had a great time here as always. SSG, puts on a great show.
Awesome.
You don't get Dick coming out for just any old reason,
I know you said you got most of the ideas from Moyan, but anything you felt like you would change in this list? That's something that that just stood out to you, like, oh, like this would not be in my list if I had more time with it.
I really want to know if I could take out the strengths.
Okay, that's a crazy statement.
I know, it's so good. It's probably the best song in the game. I just found myself inking it so often, and honestly, it was kind of just worse than Baboom so many times. But then I know I'm just gonna run into a Diablo.
Yeah, and that's how it goes.
And be like, well, my day's over. But yeah, honestly, I wouldn't play this deck again. I haven't play tested at all. I'm busy making content and stuff like that. Playing meme decks in the ICL.
Yeah.
Letting people beat me. So when I had workshops and stuff, Oswald, stuff like that, the Ruby Sapphire matchup felt much better. It felt almost unlosable. I would just they would constantly have to answer threat after threat after threat, and then you just shotgun blast them.
Yeah.
And by that I mean in Disney terms, we just plasma blast them.
Plasma blast. That's what we're looking
for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Dick, amazing. Any shout outs you want to make, and your people on the interwebs, anybody you want to say thank you to?
Yeah, you know what? Everyone just go message Dan, right? Message to the Forbidden Mountain on all socials and tell him how much you love Dick. Burns.
Fair enough.
Burns, yeah. Other than that, no, that's all good.
It's all good.
I appreciate everyone out there.
Of course, we appreciate you, Dick. Thanks for being a good sport and sticking around and do a little deck profile with us.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Obviously, we've chatted on the side. You're amazing to chat with, and we really appreciate you sticking around and coming to hang out with us at SSG today. So thank you, and congratulations on your fight.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.